it looks like it might be the end of Roger Ailes as head of Fox News. The New Yorker reports that Rupert Murdoch and sons, Lachlan and James, who are the co-chairman and CEO of parent company 21st Century Fox, have settled on removing Ailes as executive of Fox News. Removing is a nice way of saying you're fired. Now, this is according to two sources briefed on the sexual harassment investigation of Ailes, which is being conducted by New York law firm Paul Weiss. That's a strange law firm, name for a law firm, isn't it? Now, let me get into this article from the New Yorker. Quote, after reviewing initial findings of the probe, James Murdoch is said to be arguing that Ailes should be presented with a choice this week whether or not to resign or face being fired. Now, well, the end result of that is essentially the same. No more Roger Ailes. However, if he resigns, which is generally, I think, the way that he's going to go, if he goes at all, well, you're going to get stuff if you resign. You might get a nice little severance package or something, you know, something to see you out the door, but to make sure that you're okay for all your years of faithful service to the conservative cause. If he gets fired, well, that's going to get messy. Now, back to the article. Lachlan, however, is more aligned with their father, Rupert, who thinks that no action should be taken until after the GOP convention this week. Okay, so they're going to wait till, the convention maybe is over. Right now, you've got 2-1. Another source confirms that all three are in agreement that no matter the timing, Ailes needs to go. So basically, we got to get rid of this guy. Now, we haven't decided when to get rid of this guy, but we already all agree that we've got to get rid of Ailes. Looks bad for us. This is bad for us. We can't have this guy on board anymore. Now, the article goes into some more details about why. Now, it's not just because the sexual harassment. That's definitely a part of it. Gretchen Carlson's sexual harassment suit. But I'm going to let the New Yorker explain. Well, while Gretchen Carlson's sexual harassment lawsuit against Ailes sparked the investigation, sources say it has expanded into a wide-ranging inquiry into Ailes' controversial management style. The interviews are now being conducted at Paul Weiss's Midtown offices because concerns that the Fox offices could be bugged, according to sources. Who bugs their offices? Is this a 1970s spy movie or a news organization? So, they're having interviews of former female employees in addition to current staff as well. So, they're having these interviews with the staff, and they don't want the staff to get in trouble, or at least the staff doesn't want to get in trouble, so they're going to do it at the law offices instead of their own offices inside the Fox News headquarters, for fear that it might be bugged, that people will be listening in, that Ailes will be listening in, and can retaliate later. Interesting. Now, they're also looking into the appropriateness of Ailes pressuring employees to speak out on his behalf against his accusers. Now, that, of course, if true, is shady. And look, what we had recently, when these allegations came out, you immediately had a whole bunch of current Fox employees come out in favor of Ailes. Now, while all the accusers of women who try to get jobs not only at Fox, mostly from his time before Fox, by the way, and were harassed, I mean, look, one of the accounts was of a 16-year-old girl who was allegedly chased around Ailes' office while he had his junk hanging out. She called his balls red like hamburger. Whew. I'm sorry, that's still gross. Now, you don't see anything suspicious with many people currently on the payroll, including his male employees, immediately jumping to his defense, do you? I do. It looks damn suspicious. For example, Fox Business anchor Neil Cavuto recently wrote an op-ed in which Cavuto called the allegations against Ailes sick. I'd say chasing around a 16-year-old girl with your balls hanging out is sick. I'm just saying. Now, I want to read you some of Cavuto's op-ed here. He writes, all this stuff I've been reading about Roger is a lot of clutter and a lot of nonsense. None of it remotely matches the man I've come to know over these recent decades. Now here's another bit, and it's about the allegations. Quote, I've never seen it, I've never witnessed it, not even hints of it. That's just not the Roger I know, or any of my staff members know. Well, to be fair, Neil, you're not a woman. So of course you'd never see that. And we're supposed to take your word for it anyway? You're getting paid. These women that have come out alongside of Gretchen Carlson, they're not getting paid. They're not getting anything in return for this. So you gotta wonder. You think it's easy to come out and share sexual harassment allegations? One woman admitted that she did have sex or some sort of sexual activity with Ailes to help her career. Why would you come out and admit that if you're faking? It makes no sense, especially since you'll get publicly shamed. In fact, women who come out with, rape allegations or sexual assault allegations, this is normally the treatment that they get.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Why would you ever want to come out publicly with that if it's not real? Now, I know that there are incidences, like, for example, the Rolling Stone thing. Now, that did happen, obviously, but most people don't go out like that, okay? Most people are not like that one person. And I know that hurt Rolling Stone's credibility a lot, and it should. At least on that, because she didn't follow up with sources. But on this one, you have many, many women, as Donald Trump would say, many, many women that are out there saying essentially the same thing. In order for me to get a job at Fox, not at Fox News, but where I was working at back in the 60s even, that I had to, sleep with him in order to get a job. That's fucked up. And I see no reason why these women would lie about that. Now, I gotta note that in cases of rape and sexual harassment, it's usually not the men that are shamed publicly. Not only that, but if you come out against Roger Ailes, well, look, a lot of these accounts had one thing in common. That Ailes would make sure that your career was destroyed if you didn't have sex with him. You won't work in this town. If you wanna play with the adults, you've got to lay with us or with me. And in some instances, one woman was told, look, you need to not only have sex with me, but with anybody that I tell you to. So if I want to pawn you off as on a friend so you can have sex with him, well, you have to, or else your career is not going anywhere. This is sick. This is disgusting. Is it that much of a stretch to assume that there wouldn't be retaliation? And not only that, but retaliation to male employees that decide to not defend him, like Neil Cavuto? What if Neil hadn't written that op-ed? You wonder what would happen to him? Now, there is one more thing in the article that apparently, if this article is to be believed, came from one unnamed Fox host. They said Ailes loyalists are reporting back on the investigation to his attorney. What they're reporting is that they're scared to death. The Fox hosts are scared to death. Another Fox anchor reportedly told The New Yorker that the mood over at Fox News is bleak. It's not looking good. It's not looking good at all. Now, we'll see the way that this goes, right? If Ailes does indeed step down or get fired, maybe within the next week or so, or immediately following the convention. Either way, this is big. This is huge. If Ailes is gone, that means Fox News will lose its chief propagandist. And whether or not you like Fox News, that's going to have a big impact on the future of not just the channel, but on the entire industry itself.